The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I got parts for the Fox body, and hopefully I'll be driving it today. It lives! So in this box here, I think I finally have the proper solution to get this car running. Or do I hope so? This is probably what, my, I don't know, 5th, 6th order from DIY Auto Tune, and they have been awesome with shipping despite some of the delays and everything. I've been really happy with how they are dealing with everything, and I still got everything in a pretty timely manner, I do say so myself. So let's go ahead and do a brief unboxing here, what we have and what I ordered, and then we can start getting to work. First thing I see here is one of the most important pieces. So if you watched the last video here where I confessed of my stupidity and realized I really messed up, I went ahead and said that I need a coil driver and not something like the Summit Racing ignition box. While this is a good piece, this is the wrong piece for this type of ignition setup, and what you need instead is something like this. So this is their, I guess, in-house built coil driver module. It's actually a much nicer piece in your hand than it looks online, but it's really solid. All the wires are different colors, they're already pre-stripped, so technically all you have to do is just crimp or whatever you're doing. It's got a nice metal back plate here for mounting, and it seems like a pretty solid piece, so it should hold up within the heat of the vehicle. Looks like it's all epoxied in back here, so it seems like a nice piece. Comes with the mounting screws. That's always nice to have. So this is basically the same thing as Ford's factory ignition module, but it just interprets the signal a little bit different. So basically the microsquirt sends this the information, and this is what basically controls the coil, not something like the ignition box here. It was not something I really wanted to buy, but it seems like they had proprietary type of connection on their coil, which is what I did get. So I ended up getting their connector, which comes with the pins and little boots and everything, so that's good. I get to have that. And then finally, because I completely toasted this coil, I have here their IGN4 Ignition 4 4-post ignition coil. And let me tell you, this is pretty much, this feels nice. This feels nice in your hand. It actually, this almost feels as heavy as this whole thing, including the bracket, which is kind of strange. But it seems like the same construction as this coil has. It almost looks identical in construction. So that makes me wonder exactly where these coils are made, if they're made at the same facility. But this coil is definitely more space friendly. It's definitely smaller, and the fact that it mounts, the spark plugs sit on top instead of the sides, that will be a lot easier for cable management there. Plus it's tested to work with the microsquirt and all these other components. So all I have to do is hook it up the way they said to hook it up, and with a stroke of luck, the car should be able to work. Now that we have all the parts unboxed, I'm gonna start tearing back into the wiring in the car, get things kind of to a fresh start, and then we can start adding our new components. So a little update here. I have pretty much everything ripped apart. So got the ignition box pulled out, a lot of these wires already separated, and have new wires located that I'm going to use. And now pretty much what I'm trying to do is figure out a good mounting place for the coil driver. I was going to put it exactly where I had the ignition box, you know, somewhere like right down there, but then it's just kind of a hard spot. It's not a flat surface it sits against either. The ignition box had standoffs. I could put it here, you know, like that, or some manner, but kind of gets a little crowded here with all the other wires. So I moved it over here, and it's a nice flat part, and that's I feel like that's a nice place right there. It gets it out of the way, so I think that's where it's gonna go. Since that last clip, a few hours have passed, but no worries, I did get some stuff done, which is probably a good thing, right? So The only thing that hasn't really been done is a proper mounting of the module here, but I think I'm just going to take some double-sided tape or something and just stick it there. It's just a lot easier. It's really hard to kind of get a drill or anything back there to drill holes without removing all this, and it's just a pain, I think. So we'll worry about that later. But all the wiring's done for now. It's kind of crude. In case something's wrong, I didn't want to get too in-depth with it. I got the new coil mounted here. Things look a lot nicer. And I made all the changes I needed to make inside the car. So now the only thing left to do is to pull up Tuner Studio, make the adjustments I need to make in terms of dwell, settings, and a couple other parameters. And we can try to start the car, and hopefully we can get it to run. Oh, so I made some adjustments here in Tuner Studio, and now I get to turn the key and see what happens. So here we go. Alright, well, nothing is better than something catastrophic, so I have no clue how long it's been since the last clip. I think it's been probably 3-4 days. Could have been 5. I lost count. But there's been some awesome progress made here with this just ridiculously pain in the ass project. So let me get you up to speed on what I've been doing and what has happened. So the wiring's still a bit of a mess. I think I'm actually at a point now where I think everything's fine and I can actually start doing this wiring correctly. One thing I did do wrong is when I first set this up, I actually had the firing order wrong. So these are 1 and 4 and this is 2 and 3. And I guess I was rushing and not paying attention and they were all mixed up. I think none of them were going to the right thing. So the firing order was completely wrong. Obviously the car's not going to run. So just before the last clip, the camera actually ended up dying. And somehow, somewhere along the way, something wasn't right with the wiring and the settings inside of Tuner Studio. So what had happened was the coil ended up getting extremely hot, or one side of it. So I, of course, aborted and got really scared because I didn't want to ruin another coil and set myself out of money that I don't have right now. So I stopped for that day, did research, and came back and found out I did have some settings completely wrong. But now I think we're good. I also went ahead and see, these are the old spark plugs and they look fine, but for some reason I think they're just completely fouled out from being just drenched in gas and nothing actually going on. So I put a new set of plugs in and everything. I made some settings and it wanted to fire. It actually wanted to run. So I guess it's time to see if it will actually start and if I can move on with my life and this project. So one big thing I did notice when I was setting everything up was once I verified that the coil pack was working correctly, I started to notice that it was like firing out of the intake. So I had my assumptions that timing was 180 degrees out. So I made some changes, and it's basically the changes that you have to make with the crank sensor wheel, and I basically just added 180 degrees to what I had originally, and the car did want to start. And another important thing I had to make sure was the dwell time for the spark. So everything's good. I should be ready to start, so I'm just going to crank the key here and see if it kicks over. Let's see here. Alright, grab one. Yes! It lives! It lives! Yes! Oh, that makes me so happy. The idle's a little high right now. So right now I don't have idle control set up with the IAC valve. I have it just by the throttle stop. So if you have a hard time hearing me, I'm sorry. I found it easier to control idle this way. So a little bit of misfiring, I think that's a fueling issue. Yeah, definitely some bad misfiring there. I don't have any of the tune worked out. I've just now got the car started again. Oh man, that makes me so happy. It looks like it's running a little bit of rough there, but it's running. It is running. Everything looks like it's working perfectly. Wow, pretty solid. Air fuel's a little over the place. Like I said, I'm also working on locked ignition. I don't have any of the timing table activated. It's fixed at 10 degrees. So I'm not sure if it could use more or less. I read somewhere that these cars like 20 degrees advance. Well, I mean, I don't know if it liked it too much, but coolant temp's already risen to 130 degrees if I don't have the radiator fan plugged in. Let's see if I can give it a little bit of It has really good response now, I tell you what, a lot better than it did when it was stock. It sounds different than I remember it last I had her going when things were still factory. But I definitely gotta get this tune figured out because it's still running a bit rough, but oh my God, it's running. It could bring a tear to my eye. Oh my God. Weeks of just almost pulling my hair out, trying to figure out what was wrong, and I finally did it. Holy crap. So many things I've learned in this project, and so many things I know not to do next time. I'm just gonna run the factory radiator for now and this ugly ass fan because I just don't have the funds to upgrade. This will get cleaned up and painted because it's ugly. And I think once I get that in, I can start driving the car, man. That's gonna be fun. It's just so satisfying. Funny thing is, I've had people tell me that, yo, I'm never gonna get this car running again. Well, to those people, I salute you with the single finger. That's what happens when you're persistent and you're patient and you take your time and you learn and you stick with it until you finish it. I could have given up on this. I could have put a for sale sign on this car. I could have let it sit in the field and rot away. But no, I was determined. I was determined to get this damn thing running because it's something I always wanted. Plus, I'd rather it move on its own power than push it out because I need to make space for other stuff. Finally made it happen. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up here on this video. There's not much more I can really show in this video, so I probably progressed way longer than I wanted to. So I'm just going to wrap things up here, and probably in the next video I'm actually going to be driving the car and tuning it, so that'll be fun. And then I can start actually getting things prepped and ready. Then we can start adding all the fun stuff, you know, like the turbo that I bought and whatnot. But that is it for this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with everyone you know, and if you want to see more content like this, then go ahead, subscribe to the channel, keep a lookout for the next video.